Hi, this is a new video about some physics that I think is pretty novel and new. I want to kind of take credit. I think these ideas are new, and I don't want people using them and then I don't get any intellectual credit for it. So my name is Hassan Sadr, and this is the December 4th, 6 a.m. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna expand on the title of this video, which is Earth a jump station? And this involves some physics or quantum physics that we're gonna go over that stuff. Okay, if by the word jump station, I mean that it's like in the sci-fi movies when a space plane comes in and there is a little wormhole or a region of space where there are very exotic particles, and this plane or this space station or whatever or UFO can make a jump and bypass the physical universe and just make a shortcut through space. Okay, so the physics of this, if you study, for example, the physicists that talk about wormholes, they're always talking about a concept that's called frame dragging. Or say, for example, there is two neutron stars, they're coalescing together, they're collapsing together. Okay, the pole of the gravitational pull of the neutron stars and the adjacent space is so massive that it kind of bends the space and creates a kind of a gravitational wave. Okay, this these ideas have to do with the presence of exotic particles. Okay, there's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is if that there is exotic particles in the space adjacent to the neutron stars. But say, for example, there is a mechanism that operates in the planet Earth, and it creates a field around the planet, and then another device, a machine can come in and use this field to make it jump or make a warp space jump into another space-time. And I have some good physics that can back this up. Okay, it might sound strange, but bear with me. I have thought about some of this stuff through. I think I have, but okay. Let me get on with another bizarre idea that some people are familiar with. Okay, it's somebody after Maxwell wrote down the equations for electromagnetism. I think there's like 3-4 equations, right? So when you write these equations down, you're considering 3 variables, like or 4 variables. I have to look at the equation. So you're considering the ordinary space x, y, z, and t. So that's space-time, right? But somebody else came along and wrote these equations in the form of quaternions. Okay, so if you quaternions are like vector fields. It allows for more dimensions than x, y, z, and t. It allows for yet one more dimension. I know this. There is a historical evolution to this idea. I will go over that too. And then if you write these equations in the quaternion form, then you can include gravity as yet another parameter. Okay, so if you have three variables x, y, z, and t, and say you have another one z, and then your output could be the like B, which is the magnetic field, the strength, and then I think there is a E, that's output electric field or electric charge. Anyway, there is like 3-4 outputs of these sets of equations, and then you can also have a term for gravity. Okay, so at the time of Einstein, another mathematician came around. Two of them, they wrote these equations in a form that they call them Kaluza-Klein form. And if you write that in 5 variables, 4 of space-time and yet another 1 variable, then the equations of relativity can be converted to electromagnetic wave equations or Maxwell's equations. So there is like a historical progression to these ideas that hey, gravity is related to electromagnetism. Okay, but then the U.S. government and many governments, they suppress these discoveries because these discoveries allow for building planes or space planes that do not need propulsion. They don't need chemical propulsion. Okay, so there is this other part that towards from 1939 onward, Hitler got very desperate. They were looking for super weapons to beat the Allies, and they pounced on this idea. In fact, they were reading many older texts. I don't know if that part is true, but anyhow, they came up with a design for Hannibal, which looks like a flying disc that's based on rotation of Mercury as a superconductor. Well, they had to cool the Mercury and circulate it and create a magnetic field, but as a byproduct they also got something that's like an anti-gravitational field that was associated with this gyrating Mercury coil. I think there's a nice name for that coil. I gotta look it up. Anyhow, then okay, I saw a historical video that showed Hannibal, the disc that manufactured, saw it flying, and so I do believe my eye too. I think there is something to it. It's not just a fiction or some mathematicians fiddling with stuff. So this technology, even though it was suppressed, or many scientists might say, I don't believe in that, it exists. Well, like Sufi Master said, a lot of knowledge and technologies already exist, either as relics, archaeological relics, or as something that somebody brushed up and used again. Anyhow, so if you have a device that creates anti-gravity or a field that annihilates or nullifies gravitational field in some way, okay, the, you also have a device that is like a time machine, because when you write these equations down, okay, the time dilation or time uh, variable is part of these sets of equations. So if you, by some magic or by some technology here and there, you modified the process and you were receiving as output anti-gravitational wave field that was negating the gravity of the earth, you also have in this same machinery you have a time machine. Okay, you can basically you're modifying space-time, so you can do something with that. Okay, so I believe that this technology has existed in ancient times, but there were other civilizations, but I don't know how it was. But the only reference that I knew of, and I think a lot of archaeologists are coming up with other evidences, is the story in Quran that's there were some groups that friends that they wanted to go away from a certain society, and they went into this cave. In the Islamic parlance, they call it friends of the cave, ashab kaf. That's the exact word. So they while they were there and they fell asleep, and then when they woke up, they went out, and the society had moved on 300 years. So I don't know how accurate that is. I don't think it's totally myth, but okay, say you have such a device, right? And from these equations and these processes and this historical evidence, we can see that this is some sort of wormhole or some anomaly in the space-time that that a spacecraft can get in and do something, go here and go there, or go move on in time or in space. So, but there is another advantage that's there, is that we see that this process is related to electromagnetism, which means that magnetism and electromagnetism is kind of tied with these other four forces of nature, one of them being gravity. Okay, so if we look around, we see that the planet Earth has is a massive magnet. I mean, we have so much iron in the core of the Earth, and a lot of this iron is also molten and circulating, like the mercury that was circulating in that coil. So then what I'm trying to say is that there is a possibility that this field, this magnetic field, is generated by this circulating iron core or magma, iron magma, could also produce some kind of anomaly in space-time. So when I'm reading the UFO literature, I see that they're saying that some of the UFOs, they show up on some regions of planet Earth, like on northern poles, and they disappear. They come in. So there is some regions of space-time around Earth that can do exotic things. Okay, so this is in the realm of possibilities, not sci-fi. Is there is a little math, and there is some history.